Good morning, beautiful people. It is Saturday morning. It is around 9 o'clock and it is fermentation day. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make the leaven or levain, whichever way you would like to pronounce it. Simply all that is taking some of the inactive starter here from Ernie, adding 35 grams to the jar here. Oh, smells beautiful and yeasty. So I'm just going to pop 35 grams in there. So today's process is going to be a whole day process. 35 grams of whole wheat flour, or plain flour rather, baker's flour. 35 grams of the whole wheat flour this time. So beautiful. And 70 mils of lukewarm water, not too hot because we don't want to kill off our little friendly yeasties in here. And there you have it. So we're going to grow this little bad boy for over 5 to 6 hours room temperature, preferably be in a room home. Sorry, a warm home. Can't speak this morning, haven't had enough caffeine. So we're just going to loosely place the lid on top, pop them on top of the fridge, or preferably in a warm environment. And then what's going to happen from there, so that'll be 5 to 6 hours. An hour beforehand, what we're going to do is start autolyzing the bread. So I'll show you that process. And that'll be a continuous process over a couple of hours where I will show you to autolyze, to slap and fold, and then basically prepare the bread overnight for baking tomorrow. That's step one of the process. And then what I'm going to actually do throughout today is I saved some of Ernie's feeding last night, which is here, and I'm going to, instead of composting it, I'm going to make some scones, sourdough scones, so nice and warm for a cold Anzac morning. All right, guys, I'll step you through the process. Okay, so we're actually making beetroot walnut sourdough. What we want to actually do is prepare the beets to make the puree. Now you'd actually think that cheat would be, to get pure beetroot juice, but the thing is, just like most things that are oxidized, if you leave beetroot juice out, it will go brown. So this is why we want to actually do a proper beetroot puree, just so, because if the beets go brown, then of course the sourdough goes brown. Okay, so what we're going to do is set the oven to 200 degrees. We've now got our beets that have been washed and scrubbed. And then what I'm going to do is just pop a bit of olive oil, bang, bang, wrap those babies up, and then cook those for an hour until soft. And then we will go from there and puree them. Okay, so we've got about 30 minutes left of the beetroot in the oven to turn that into puree. And then we've got the levain, which is actually an hour off being ready. So we're now actually going to prepare the dough. We're going to autolyze the dough. So what I've actually got here is 810 grams of beautiful Baker's GMO-free organic flour. We're going to add 80 grams of whole wheat flour. Don't be afraid to use your hands. The idea about sourdough is actually getting in there and really connecting with your foods. So we've got the 80 grams there, and then we've got 2 1/4 cup of water. So we're just going to get in there. We're going to hydrate the flour. We don't want to mix it too much because we don't want to release the gluten. So we're just, and this is autolyzing. So autolyzing is, as I said, hydrating the flour with the aim of encouraging the enzymes to begin the gluten process. And this is actually going to be left for an hour, but you can leave this for anywhere from 10 minutes up to 5 hours if you need be. So just get in there, really use your hands, pour as much love and appreciation, gratitude and respect for the food. And then what we're going to do, it's beautifully hydrated, you can either put a wet towel over the top. I'm going to pop some cling wrap and stick it in a warm temperature room for it to wait for the levain, and then we're good to go. Okay, it's been about an hour baking. Our beautiful beetroot is ready to go. We're just going to let that cool to room temperature. And then we're just going to whiz that up in the food processor and turn that into a puree. So the idea is we definitely want it to be room temperature before even adding this to the dough, or else it's just going to kill the bacteria and the yeast and the enzymes off in the dough, and we don't want that occurring. So I'm going to ensure that this is in completely room temperature before we even add it. Okay, so it's been an hour since we've autolyzed our beautiful flour and water mixture. So just hydrated the actual flours with the water, and now I'm going to do is add our levain on top, which has been fermenting since 9 o'clock this morning. So, and this is why we don't want to use our starter, else we'd have no starter left. So this is why we left it since 9 o'clock this morning to ferment. And what we want to do here is just beautifully spread that out. Oh, it's nice and warm. Okay. Get that all about. Then we're going to dig some holes in. So it's getting right into the mixture. Don't worry about using your hands. By you using your hands, you're connecting with it all. You're connecting with the microbes and the wild yeast and the lactic acid bacteria. It's just beautiful when you get to connect with your food. Okay, now we're going to just pinch and squeeze. If you guys could feel that, you could really feel how stretchy and pulley that is. Can you hear that? Beautiful. Oh, couldn't be happier with this. And on the side here, we've got our beetroot puree, which we baked. Like I said in previous videos, we did that because if you use pure juice, it will oxidize and it will turn brown, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to add that in now. We only want 1 cup of the beetroot puree. And like I said before, please ensure that this is cool to room temperature, or else we will be killing off all the beautiful microbes and the yeast and the lactic acid I was telling you about. Again, look at that beautiful color, guys. Pinch that in. So vibrant. Now this won't be this red when you bake it. It'll just have a light, beautiful purple tinge. If you want it to stay this vibrant, I would suggest using purple carrots, because that will really, really make it this bright. And we're also going to use walnuts as well, because walnuts actually have tannins in it, and that will actually, the tannins will actually make the dough purple as well. So I'm just now going to cover that and let it rest for another 20 minutes. Okay, next we're going to start our bulk ferment process, which is undertaken 4 hours. We start this process by doing a stretch and fold. We'll do that 6 times. For the first 3 times, we'll let it in 15-minute intervals, and for the last 3 times, we'll be in 30-minute intervals. So how we do this is we basically just pick up the dough mixture and stretch it as far as you can and fold it across. Beautiful. So pick it up, stretch, fold it across. Pick it up, stretch as far as it'll go and fold it across. Pick it up, stretch, and fold it across. Pick it up, stretch, and fold it across. And pick it up and stretch and fold it across. And there you have it. And then we'll let that rest for another 15 minutes. And then we'll repeat that another 2 times. And then we'll do the 30-minute intervals as well. Okay, so this is the 6th time we are repeating the process of stretch and flip. We're just going to stretch it and flip it over, stretch, flip it over, stretch, flip it over, and one last time. Beautiful. And then what we're going to do is, because we're still bulk fermenting, we've still got an hour and a half from the 4 hours. So that's just going to sit in a warm room for another hour and a half. And then we can shape it in preparation for baking tomorrow.